afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you. On behalf of the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, I would like to welcome you to the unveiling of the evolution of the Hispanic Chamber. Before we get started, would everybody, even though I know I just asked you to sit down, would you all please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As we move forward today, if you would please pull out your cell phones and check into this event via social media using the hashtags FWHCC and Evolution. Once you're done, please silence your phones. We appreciate your undivided attention during the program. It is with much support from our sponsors today that we are able to have such a great event, and we'd like to thank our premier sponsors, Mr. Oscar Oaxaca with Basecom Incorporated, and Ms. Sandra McLaughlin with Empire Roofing. We appreciate your support. We would also like to express our gratitude for the supporting table and media sponsors today, and they should be listed in your program and scrolling on the screens. Thank you. We have many elected officials here joining us today, and it's my honor to introduce them. As I say your name, please stand and be recognized, and if everyone would please hold your applause until all have been introduced, and then we'll clap. Okay? U.S. House Representative District 6, Don Jaquist. Hang tight. State Senator Connie Burton. Thank you. State Representative Ramon Romero. The Honorable Judge Glenn Whitley. Commissioner Roy Brooks. Mayor Pro Tem Salaspino. Councilwoman Kelly Ellen Gray. Councilman Carrie Moon, Councilman Jungus Jordan, Councilman Dennis Shingleton, Councilwoman Ann Zeta, Councilman Zim Zimmerman, Councilwoman Gina Bivens. Also here with us today is the Board President of the Fort Worth Independent School District, Mr. Jacinto Ramos. The Chairman of the Board of TRWD, Mr. Vic Henderson. City Manager David Cook. Assistant City Manager Jay Chapa. And on behalf of Congresswoman Kay Granger, Ms. Kristen Vandergriff, and the Consulate General of Mexico, Mr. Jose O. Tripp Villanueva. Thank you for your service. We are so glad to be a part of the greater business community and the support that we receive from chambers across the board. And so here representing the Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce is Mr. Bill Thornton, President and CEO of the Fort Worth Chamber. Representing the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce, Jeremiah Anderson. And representing the Irving Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, President Mary Ann Kellum. I would also like to thank and recognize our 2016 board members of the Hispanic Chamber. We are grateful for your support. If you'd please stand. All current board members. Thank you. We've had great leaders during our history. Okay. We've had great leaders during our tenure and our time as a chamber. And would all of our past chairs please stand and be recognized? Past chairs. Most importantly, our ambassadors who are out and have been a very significant part of the success of the Chamber over the years. Would all of our ambassadors please stand and be recognized? And Mr. John Martinez. We'll now begin with our invocation. And Father Hasso, I'd invite you to the podium.
Thank you for the opportunity to pray with you, especially because today is Ash Wednesday. I have the ashes on my forehead, you know. And of course, I think we should be proud today because this is a great meeting. I am proud of the Hispanic community in Fort Worth and for the best wishes for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Quiero decir que estoy muy contento, muy feliz de estar aquí con ustedes porque esta junta es importante. Fort Worth es una de las ciudades de un crecimiento fabuloso, no hay duda. Nacionalmente, el 20% de las empresas pequeñas en todo Estados Unidos está en manos de los hispanos. Qué importante para una Cámara no olvidar este factor, esta potencia maravillosa. I'm aware that Fort Worth is one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. We know that. Hispanic growth, yes. We also know that 20% of the small businesses in our nation is in the hands of Hispanics. And they're booming fastly. It's a wonderful opportunity for all of us. So this little prayer that I will share with you today has this purpose, that the Lord bless the Hispanic Commerce, the Chamber of Commerce in our city, that we keep growing as fast as our small businesses in Fort Worth. We grow with them. Let's be aware of that. Let us bow our heads in prayer. God of all creation, we come before you today to give you honor and praise. You are worthy of all praise. You are the source of all that is good. You are the source of all our blessings. We thank you for the many gifts you bestow upon all of us. We thank you for the opportunity to come and gather together to this day to pray for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Fort Worth. We ask that your Holy Spirit guide and direct their meeting and their efforts and their goals so that it is full of wisdom, unity, and productivity. We thank you for helping them to accomplish their work and goals for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he look upon you with kindness and give you peace and love. Amen. Thank you.
We will begin our program today with inviting Chair-elect to the podium, Mr. Al Saenz.
Good afternoon. Please, everyone, enjoy their lunch. Thank you, Father Hasso. Thank you, Joanne. Speaking of Joanne, we have a local celebrity. I don't know, on the Throckmorton Street on the 400 block, on the Cassidy building, there's a mural, a photographic mural. One day last year, I was walking on Throckmorton. I looked up and I saw that full-size photograph of this attractive lady holding this little boy. And I said, I know that lady. It was Joanne. And it was a photograph of the Sundance West Plaza. I think it was the opening day, and it just happened to catch her and her son. So go by. It's on the Cassidy building next to Oliver's. It's a sight to see. Again, my name is Al Saenz. As Joanne mentioned, I'm honored to be up here today in front of you. The Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce has asked me to speak on 3 specific pillars of success for the Chamber: business, civic engagement, and the economy. I am the chairman-elect of the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, but today I stand here as a business owner and a proud Fort Worth resident. I am the CEO of Multitech. We have offices in Kansas City and Dallas, but our home office is here in Fort Worth. Fort Worth, where business is thriving. Fort Worth, where growth isn't just a word we throw around. It is a word we experience every day. Fort Worth, where we sit side by side and talk about issues and then implement plans for success. And Fort Worth, where I was born and raised on the north side, 1 mile from the historic stockyards, and a younger me graduated from Trimble Tech High School with the hopes of finding personal success that didn't necessarily define me, but strengthened me. Throughout my life, I have been surrounded by people who have taught me the value in working hard, believing in yourself, and fighting for the underdog. 43 years ago, a small group of businessmen and community leaders recognized the value and the importance of having fair representation in the local business community that reflected the changing demographics in Fort Worth. Out of that vision was born the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. With 30 original members, those leaders had the foresight to see the growing number of Hispanics throughout the community, desired to empower and enable them to become community stakeholders and have their voices heard. Throughout the next 4 years, 4 decades, and to date, the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce has hundreds of members and almost 60 corporate partners. One could ask, what is the purpose of the Hispanic Chamber in 2016? Let me share with you the answer to that question. The purpose really hasn't changed much from 1973. In fact, much of what we were founded on still holds true today. The Chamber's mission is clear and simple. We are here to help open doors. We as an organization are here to introduce, network, educate, and build capacity for success among our members, and to outreach those who need our assistance. No matter the size of your business, small or large, and remember this, today small business, someday will be that large business. The Hispanic Chamber is here to help entrepreneurs and business people such as myself do business with the area's larger corporations and organizations. We are here to build relationships, create capacity, and teach financial literacy. We want to introduce our area bankers to the entrepreneur or the business owner to help expand and grow local business. And vice versa, the Chamber is here to help its corporate partners reach out to their targeted markets and grow their local reach as well. Today in this room, we have representatives from the City of Fort Worth, Tarrant County College, Encore, American Airlines, DFW Airport, BNSF, Fort Worth ISD, Bell Helicopter, Lockheed Martin, Texas Health Resources, and many others. Each day, they are hiring local entrepreneurs to build our airplanes and helicopters, maintain the health of our community, build new buildings to meet their growing needs, build roads and runways. They are writing loans for startups and financing expansions. But right in the middle of all this growth, you find the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce at the root of these relationships. Let me share a personal philosophy with you. For those of you who know me well, you may be familiar with my truism. My truism is clear and simple. Business is about two elements: people and money, especially people. It's all about the people. The Chamber recognizes that as well and appreciates the importance of networking to develop and strengthen relationships, and certainly understands the importance of money management. As a businessman in Fort Worth, North Texas, and one of the country's fastest growing regions, it is important to look around this room and recognize that it takes all of us to make growth a reality. Success does not happen overnight. Success does not come without hard work. It is a mindset, and it is full of grit and persistence. That was a dream of a handful of men 43 years ago, to create an organization that advocated for the little guy, that fought for equality, and brought people together for the greater good of building a stronger community, economy, educating people, and above all, growing a better Fort Worth for everyone. Now I want to briefly speak about civic engagement and the importance of it to your business and the community. I encourage you to serve. Give back to the community. Our community needs you. The rewards are immense. Plus, the relationships that are established or expanded are undoubtedly beneficial to your company and to you personally. Some of my dearest friends and colleagues in this room were established by serving on boards such as the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Fort Worth Opera, Community Foundation of North Texas, United Community Centers, Multicultural Alliance, the Mental Health America of Greater Tarrant County. For example, Multitex corporate banker and attorney were established by colleagues that I met on nonprofit boards. Please serve, whether it be for children, families, education, mental health, and don't forget the arts. The arts are important for a viable community. Thank you for having me here today. As we look to the future of this organization, ask yourself these questions. What is my part for a better Fort Worth? What is my responsibility to the future? And are we creating a community where everyone's voices are heard? May you each continue your support for the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and may we see many more decades of success for our community. Thank you. Now I'm proud to introduce our next speaker, another native Fort Worthian, Northside graduate, and a man who has dedicated his professional career to education, and glad I spoke before him. You'll see why soon. It'll be inspirational. Please welcome Fort Worth ISD School Board President, Jacinto Ramos.
He just set the bar that high for me. Thank you, Al. I've been asked to speak on two pillars as part of this program. Two subject matters that I'm extremely passionate about. There's a third one which I won't mention, but the first two are education and leadership. Education and leadership is something we can go on for days and days, especially as it relates to our community in Fort Worth. We had a big night last night, Fort Worth Independent School District, and I won't take up my time discussing that. So if you have any questions, give Dr. Scribner a call. 817-814-2020. Or shoot him an email at kent.scribner@fwisd.org. That's leadership. We delegate, right? My name is Jacinto Ramos, Jr. I am the son of immigrant parents. I am the husband and father of 3 amazing boys. I am a deeply blessed man. I am standing here because of the story of my parents and what they gave to me. My father with a third grade education, my mother with a high school education and not further than that, had a dream and had a wish to come to a new country, to give their children an opportunity that they didn't have in their native country. And I get to stand on a stage like this because of the sacrifices that they made, the investment that they made in their son. The biggest ones that they did is they loved me, and they loved me deeply. And I've stood on this stage before and given a different speech about how that love infiltrated my home, but nonetheless, I was very much so loved. Expectations were extremely high. My father did not play when it came to education, and I'll tell you exactly how he did it. I've shared this intimately with a number of small groups, but this is the first time I get to share the Así derechito hashtag that we use and where it came from. I'll fast forward to my father and a gentleman in Diamond Hill. See, I have an uncle named, God rest his soul, Tío Sebastián. He lived to be 97 years old. And in Mexico, that was his saying. It was Así derechito. And for everything, it was those two words. So, for example, hey, y'all need to stop fighting. No se estén peleando. Pórtense bien. Así derechito. Okay. That means nice and straight, right? Behave yourself nice and straight. But it has like different meanings. So he could also say, hey, toma una izquierda, una derecha, y luego así derechito. Take a left, take a right, and then go nice and straight. He's like the guy that I say in my movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where he said, put Windex on everything. That was my Tío Sebastián. For everything, it was those two words, así derechito. So I'll fast forward to, I told you my dad had a third grade education, and he saw that at 12 years old, I started to not take my education very serious. And he violated all the child labor laws in this country. And he sent me to go work for a guy named Don Manuel Huitron in Diamond Hill, Fort Worth, Texas. I worked for this gentleman who had a first grade education. And he worked me really, really hard. And at the end of the week, we all lined up to get paid. And I lined up with men that were undocumented that were working extremely hard. They got paid $150 in cash. I got paid $25 in cash. You can imagine I went home and I was going to argue with my dad at 12 years old, and I was going to tell him what I thought, how angry I was, and how dare you make me work from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and only get paid $25. As you can imagine, with a strong father in my household, my father walked in very, very tired from 16, 17 hours of work, put his stuff down, and he said, what are you looking at? And I said, why is he only paying me $25, Dad? And my dad said, 3 things. After you're done working for Don Manuel Huitron, you're going to learn the value of an education. You're going to work so hard that you're going to want to hit those books harder than ever before. Number 2, you're going to understand the value of hard work. You're going to know what work really is. And number 3, you're going to learn how to save that money to make sure that you buy your school supplies beginning of the school year. Now, my father invested heavily in me, and so as did Don Manuel Huitron. Don Manuel Huitron was so good to me. He would just drop knowledge on me on a regular basis. He'd take me down the street to get a good taco at Benito's Taqueria. We'd sit there and he'd just drop knowledge and say, hijo, what about in this scenario or that scenario? What I didn't realize, he was giving me these leadership skills. He was putting me in situations that I couldn't even fathom and think about. Now, my father did the same, because my father, with the third grade education at that time in this country, he moved up to become the branch manager of MPI, which is now known as Leggett & Platt. It's where they make the carpet cushion, right? But I sit there and I think about what that means today, and Dr. Scribner said it last night at our board meeting. There's this 60-30 rule now, that by 2030, 60% of our workforce will have to have a 2-year, 4-year, some type of certification, some type of training in order to keep our society moving forward. And I think my dad couldn't have done that now. And I think about what Don Manuel Huitron did when he showed up at my high school graduation. And mind you, my dad didn't throw a party, because he said, you're supposed to graduate from high school, right? We had a dinner. And at the dinner, Don Manuel walks in a little bit beaten up, a little bit older. His leg didn't work properly. And he walked in and he gave me an envelope with $500 in cash. And he grabbed my shoulders and he said, hijo, bien hecho. Que orgullo nos das. Great job. What pride you give us. I didn't hear him because I just saw the $500. Not too long after that, thank God I graduated from college at UT Arlington. Now my dad threw a party. And here comes Don Manuel, a little bit older, a little bit more beaten, and he has another envelope in his hand. Another $500, and he grabs my shoulders again and he says, Hijo, bien hecho, que orgullo nos das. The same words again. And I kind of heard him that time. But a year later, I got married. And we had our son. Yeah, we did that backwards. He figured that out at 10 years old. Don Manuel walks in to my wedding with another envelope, another $500 in cash. And he grabs my shoulders and he really squeezes them hard and he goes, Hijo, bien hecho, que orgullo nos das, porque ahora eres hombre educado y eres marido y eres padre. Great job, we're proud of you, but you're an educated man. You're an educated man, now you're a husband and now you're a father. And you see what I saw in these two men, including my tío Sebastián, and the two words of así derechito, was that uneducated man gave me my chance. And I have a responsibility to do something with that. And currently in the role of Fort Worth Independent School District, I recognize and I realize that I do not have the social capital to mess up. Do not have the social capital to mess up. And hence, I have to move forward. We have to move forward. And as I meet this guy, John Hernandez, that comes out of nowhere, I was inspired with the chamber, as I was with Bill Thornton when I first met him, as I was with a number of you in the room. See, education and the opportunity to lead has put me in rooms with people like you that are phenomenal people with a huge heart, that give and give so much that you helped us recruit the superintendent that came to Fort Worth, Texas, that will tell you how much he loves Fort Worth. I got to give you some basic statistics and then I'm going to move on. I gave you the 60-30. I want you to remember two numbers, 96 and 111. 96 years in math. This is math in the state of Texas. It's going to be 96 years for African American students to close the achievement gap with white students. It's going to be 111 years for Latino students to close the achievement gap with white students. And if you know Steve Murdoch, you know the numbers. And he even said that his numbers were off. By 2050, Latinos will be 65% of the population in public schools. And the median income is supposed to drop from 54 to 47. Now that's for me not to put a Debbie Downer in the whole room, but it's also, I believe that once you're educated, Cesar Chavez said, you can't uneducate the educated, right? Now we know. And we're having these courageous conversations. Now we know we're sounding the alarm in Fort Worth ISD. We're behind. The demographics aren't changing, they've already changed. We're behind, we got work to do. And I am extremely happy that someone like John and his team and everyone in the community stepped up even just recently, and Al sponsored Diamond Hill Jarvis's robotics team, bought them brand new shirts and jackets. Northside High School got brand new shirts. Thank you guys. So I'll close with this, that it's not an either or, it's a both and. And what I mean is 4 pillars have historically been used to describe what young people need to be successful, and there's for different versions. But young people ideally would say that they'd have a good home, connected to their community, church, mosque, or synagogue, and then the school. What I believe to be true in the career that I have as a social work field is that when those 3 fall apart, we lean on the school to take care of everything else. And our teachers are extremely stressed when they have to be the counselors and the therapists and the parent in some of these situations. So here's my challenge to you. Help us with the positive messaging of Fort Worth Independent School District. I'm a parent of 2 boys at Northside High School, and the principal is in the house, Mr. Tony Martinez, a man who inspired me to move back to the neighborhood. One person can make a difference. Help us with the positive messaging. Another thing, please get involved in our schools. Come by and visit one. If they treat you dirty, let me know. Well, I'll go with you. And the last one, I'm going to ask you to mentor a student. My mentor, Ricky Clark, sitting over there, says you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't lead where you don't go. Our young people need us. Our students need us, and we're looking for your help. Now I get to introduce you to John Hernandez, and I'm going to give you a non-written introduction. This man's story is super powerful. And I've invited a lot of people to my day job in my career, and he and his team showed up at the juvenile department on a Saturday morning to meet the families and meet the young people that we work with. And it spoke to me so deeply that I said, John, whatever you need, but I'm there. Everybody, please welcome John Hernandez.
Wow. Great introduction. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Al. Joanne, thank you for kicking this off. I was not expecting this. I was actually supposed to have a microphone here on my lapel, so I'm going to have to stand right here. And my staff lied to me. They said there was about 40 people showing up. I think this is a few more than that. But this is a great day. This is seems like 7 years, but it's only been 7 months. And I think I have a great staff, and I have a great board. My ambassadors have stepped up. But I think I'm going to start with a story. And I'm going to set the year. It's 1976. President Gerald Ford was in office. Apple Computer Company was just formed. The Pittsburgh Steelers won the Super Bowl. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. There's 2 fans right here. Thank you. As for me, I was 6 years old, so I'm sure I was terrorizing my mom somewhere. But here in Fort Worth, in 1976, the Mexican-American Chamber met up at Hernandez Restaurant on a Monday, because that was the day the restaurant was closed. Just a group of businessmen getting together, sharing best practices, really just trying to figure out how are they going to help each other grow their businesses. They also tell me of a man who show up constantly, without miss, on a Monday, and no matter what the chamber needed, whether it was back in the day where you had to type a letter, financial support, or just some general business advice, this person stepped up every time. And the man I'm speaking about is John V. McMillan. Yes, please. For those of you that are from here, Mr. McMillan was the founder of Coors Distributing here in Fort Worth, who would later become our 4th sitting chairman of the board. In fact, Abel Sanchez shared with me about Mr. McMillan that he was the perfect example of a man who would not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. I share this story with you because we share the same 3 valuable principles today: inclusion, collaboration, diversity. Those still hold true today in 2016. So as I jump forward to 2016, Mr. McMillan's very own grandson is our current chairman of the board. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Mr. Larry Anfin. Thank you, Mr. Anfin. However, the expectation of the chamber is much different today. We're no longer just a small group of Hispanic businessmen. We are the workforce. We are the educated. We are the representatives of small, medium, and large companies. We are Fort Worth. So as I take office in July of 2015, which seems like 10 years ago, very first objective was to include Fort Worth in our mission statement. So as a chamber, we came together, and this is our new mission: fostering a vibrant economic environment for our members, individuals, and the greater Fort Worth area. In my opinion, that's a great representative of both the past and the present. So the next question I ask myself is, how are we going to deliver on this mission? So after a lot of research, we came up with what we feel are the cornerstones to a thriving, productive business environment. And you already heard them today. Mr. Al, Mr. Cinto, there are 5 pillars that we've based our entire curriculum on. They're civic, education, the economy, business, and leadership. In fact, we've expanded from 8 program and events to 17 this year, which is huge. And so as we move forward with 2016, we have to come together as a team, as a city, and figure out how we're going to deliver on this mission. So we are going to keep our core: business after hours, the bilingual business program, agenda for building capacity. That's our core. And we're going to keep our fun events, our fiesta night, our gala, our golf tournament. But we've added 3 new. Our speaker series, where we bring in experts from the community to speak specifically about these topics to our members and how those relate to their business and their community. In fact, our very first speaker series is coming up March 24th. Our very own city manager, Mr. David Cook, will be joining us and speaking to our members specifically about not only civic engagement, but how we at the Chamber can help grow and develop Fort Worth. So that's one. Number 2, we've incorporated a new membership orientation, which is pretty self-explanatory. We want to share our history, we want to share our programs, but more importantly, we want to have a consistent accountability as far as what our members are asking from us. Our aim is to deliver what they're asking for, right? So we can answer the age-old question of, why do I become a member of your organization? It's a return on investment. It should be the answer. And third, we need to invest in our youth. Mr. Cinto put it very eloquently. Our young professionals are coming through the system, and so we've developed a program called the Young Professionals of Fort Worth, where we are going to specifically focus on mentoring and developing young professionals just out of college or in the midst of their first job to help them grow as a young professional and ultimately an executive of tomorrow. So the very next thing I need to do, I went to my staff and I said, what's next? I said, well, how are we going to communicate this to our members and the community in Fort Worth? So we've turned our attention to technology. So we've updated our website. It should pop up any minute now. In fact, it went live today, so I encourage you to visit it today, please. Thank you. We've modified our Facebook. We've even added Twitter and Instagram, and I have no idea what that is. But I'm learning. The last component, and some would say the most important component, is who is going to deliver this? You need a solid team. So I had a very good friend of mine, Miss Crystal Mara, come in and help me build a team. So just give me a second. I'm going to introduce you to our team. I think I have them memorized at this point. Ms. Flora Flores, she is our Director of Membership. Nicole, as you all have met, is our Director of Events. Ms. Cynthia is our Director of Administration. Daniela is our Administrative Assistant. And our brand new team member, Ms. Taylor, is our executive liaison. What that means is that she takes care of me. So, but before I wrap up for today, I need to just pause for a second because I think we need to honor and pay our respects to those who have come before us. If not for them, we wouldn't be here today. One person in particular stands out to me personally. She introduced me to the chamber. She's a friend and mentor. She's probably a mentor to a lot of people in this room, actually. And that's Miss Rosa Navarro. Wow. I'll get there someday. But I'm going to wrap up. I know it's lunch on Wednesday, but I'm going to leave you with a quote that we live by here at the Chamber. And it's a quote by Miss Glenda Cloud, and she said it best when she said, "Change is inevitable. Growth is intentional." Thank you very much for coming today.
I'm back. So we owe an apology to one of our guests here with us today. Representing U.S. Congressman Joe Barton is Rhonda Taylor. If you'd stand and be recognized. I'm so proud to be a part of this chamber, and I'd like to express the enthusiasm and the breath of fresh air that John and his staff have and are, and we really appreciate all the hard work that they've done to date. So with that, thank you again for attending the evolution of the Hispanic Chamber. John and the staff will be available if you have any questions. On your way out, please make sure that you get your parking and valet tickets validated. The staff will be handing out trifolds at the exit with more information. So we appreciate your support. Have a great day.